When people are grieving, I think they ought to wait at least a year, maybe even longer, to make any really major decisions. And the whole reason for that is because even though sometimes, particularly either early in the grief or maybe after about 9 months, people think that cognitively they're starting to think straight, down the road they'll discover that they still probably aren't on mark yet, and therefore they may make a decision that they would regret later on. Sometime after my wife died, I was golfing with a friend of mine, so it had to be at least 6, perhaps 8 or 9 months after my wife died, and I was saying to him, I wish this would just go away. I wish God would just heal it, that He'd take it away from me. And this friend of mine just stopped. He stopped cold. He turned and faced me directly on. He said, look, Bob, it took you 28 years for you and your wife to weave your life together. It's been torn apart. There are all kinds of ragged edges. Don't expect those ragged edges to go away instantly. When you experience the death of a loved one, probably the most dominant experience you have is an emotional reaction. It almost always begins with emotion. You cry, you feel angry perhaps, maybe there's a regret, but most of the time you begin your sentences, I feel, and you fill it in with that. And therefore, some people come to the conclusion that grief is just emotion, runaway emotions that I now have to kind of corral in and steer in the right direction. And once I have my emotions under control, it's all going to be better. And I know there's a good principle in life saying that my feelings really are connected to what I think and what I say to myself. And so if early in my grief I'm saying, I don't know what I'm going to do, I can't go on, I don't know what my future is going to be like, of course my emotions are going to kind of rise out of that. If, however, I'm getting into my grief journey, I'm saying, now, I really can't go on like this. I need to get a control of myself. What am I going to do? Then the cognition, your thinking, begins to take a little more control. And especially if you begin to set your mind on some small little strategies and they're successful, then you can say, I can do this. I can maybe do this one small step at a time.
GriefShare is a support group that helps you heal from the pain of grief. The GriefShare video seminars, workbook exercises, and small group discussions give you encouragement, useful advice, and hope. If you're grieving the death of a loved one, consider joining a GriefShare group. It's the perfect place for you to make sense of your suffering and heal from your pain. Begin your journey from mourning to joy at GriefShare.